I'd like to welcome you to Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center. This is our Saturday night live on Facebook, Inspirational Talk, and also on YouTube. You can find all that information out on our website, joyfulgathering.org. My name is Reverend Margaret Palagye. I am the founding minister of Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center, and I'm very happy that you have joined us this evening. Just to let you know something about us, we have a beautiful website, joyfulgathering.org, and on that website we have all of our classes, our workshops, because we have one coming up. We have our Zoom links. We have everything that you could want and even more. So go and check out joyfulgathering.org. So don't forget to turn on Wednesday evenings. We have the most fabulous meditation and prayer, 7 to 8, and then we hang out with each other for a half hour. It's really a wonderful way to touch base with like-minded people and feel good. You get prayer. It's wonderful. So before I begin the talk, 2 classes and 1 workshop. First class is The Science of Getting Rich with Dana Smith. That begins May 13th. So lots of information on the website for that. And then the class that Reverend Rita Biancasino and myself will be doing is Abundance and the Dynamic Law of Attraction, which is a fabulous, fun class, light class. That begins May 4th. Then we have an angel workshop with Dee Dee Lyons being zoomed right into us. It's going to be really great. It's something about journaling with your angels. So it's going to be a really great workshop. You're going to check that one out. That's not on our website yet, but it will be in a couple of days. All right, so let's begin tonight. Let's just begin by taking that breath. Yes. Exhale that breath of life itself moving through each and every one of us. And I also would like to wish my wonderful part of my family and my friends who are of Jewish faith a happy Passover. It's the first night of Passover, and I'm really, really thrilled to be able to say happy Passover, and lots of great things are taking place in this year. So an affirmation that we have been using in our talk is I walk in peace, I live in love, and I create a community with harmony. We've been using that the whole month of March, and so we're using that this evening too as we wrap up the theme for the month. And we're going to look at the last phrase in our affirmation, creating a community of harmony wherever I go. Wherever we go, we just create a community of harmony. Because every step of our journey, every step of our lives, every step of our way, we have the opportunity to be a vehicle for harmony. We always have that opportunity for empowerment, for growth, for expansion of our consciousness, all through love and peace, truly, or not. It's always a choice. We always are at choice. Marianne Williamson wrote In Return to Love many years ago. It was one of the first books that I read, and it was really pretty profound to me at the time. But one of the quotes that I want to talk about that she wrote in her book is, in every community there is work to be done. In every nation there are wounds to heal, and in every heart there is the power to do it. In every heart there is a power to do it, because that power is the universe thrusting us forward, flowing through us and behind us and all around us. That universal good, the power of God itself. The infinite and the perfect law says yes to whatever is in our hearts, whatever is in our hearts. I submit to you, my friends, that it takes a great deal of spiritual strength to be in the middle of a nation, a community, a workplace, a family, a church, where there are wounds to be healed, and stand for peace and love at the very same time. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of talk about empowerment to stand in that love and peace while all this is going on. Frankly, when we are in the midst of a situation where there are wounds to be healed, it is a lot easier, and it takes a lot less stress to ask, what's wrong? But a lot of the time we go into the wounded situation and find fault, blame, criticize, get angry, judge, become self-righteous about who's right and who's wrong, etc., etc. You know what I'm talking about. That takes so much energy. But I pose to you right now that having those attitudes and taking those actions are never, never, never going to lead us into a world that works, that is at peace. Can't be. Too angry or whatever, an angry group, another angry group is never going to be the solution. It just doesn't work that way. Right now, I think Marianne Williamson's words could be talking about our nation and our world. There is work to do in this world. There always will be. There are so many wounds to heal. This turmoil in our world right now looks like upset and chaos in the personal lives, racial injustice, setbacks in people's financial health, a global pandemic, serious illnesses and deaths, unrest at the office maybe, collapsing of economics, global economics, unhappiness and unrest around policies and practices of national and global leadership. So I don't think I've missed anything in there, and there's probably something, but you get the gist of where we're going with this. I'm going to give you some tools tonight to use in life. When things like this happen, it's very, 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 very easy for us to forget that fundamental tenet of science of mind, to stay in peace, to stay in harmony. We are attracting everything in our lives. And remember, my friends, it's how we respond to those circumstances in our lives. But I'd like to take that a step deeper and say that at a subconscious level, we have set up that vibration so that we can attract the experiences that will lead to the evolution and expansion of our consciousness. It's all about evolving and expanding our consciousness so we can live fulfilled and at peace. And as I said before, it's a lot easier to do all those things than to stand, as Reverend Johnny Coleman used to say, on my own two big spiritual feet and be a voice for truth, for peace, for love. That's our task right now. We can take it one day at a time, an hour at a time. Sometimes it's a minute at a time. There was an interview with Joan Borshenko about her book, Your Soul's Compass. What is spiritual guidance? In the Science of Mind magazine, this was written in the Science of Mind magazine a few years ago. So she wrote this: We are at a place right now in our evolution of our global community where there is much polarization, yet we know from chaos theory that to jump to a higher order can only occur after a period of chaos, she writes, when things as we know them break down. We're at that point, she says. What we also know about times of chaos is that it doesn't take a lot to tip the balance. A relative minority of awakening people will do so. In the book we quote, and this is still Borchenko, we quote the Dutch culturist, historian, and philosopher Fred Polak, who studied the longevity of world civilizations. This is interesting. I want you to hear this, okay? The most reliable indication he found was their images of the future. These images became a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what we need are more points of light, he said. And we are beginning to see more and more across the globe. When we have enough positive images of the future and enough people willing to cooperate in bringing forth a more positive future, this, I believe, will shift the world. This will shift the world. And that was written at least 10 years ago. And you know, we are really, I think we're really hitting that breaking point. Something has to give. And so we, my friends, can stay aligned in the peace of God itself, our own peace. It's not out there. Remember, it's an inside job. So we align, we stay anchored and rooted, and we are the peace. We are the love that this world so desperately needs. We are having chaos and breakdowns, loss of lives. We are experiencing all of this not because something is wrong, but because we are standing at the cusp of an evolution in consciousness. It's happening right now. We are here for a reason. If you're watching this talk, then you can align with what I'm saying. You, my friends, you, my friend, are here for a specific reason. And don't forget that. We are poised and ready to make that leap right now. And I can be a part of it. We can be a part of it. Those who will jump into the next phase of our evolution or not, because many won't. But it only takes a few light bearers, light showers, light evolvers as we are. I want to be among those who had that positive image for the future and who are willing to cooperate to bring it about. And the greatest way that I can cooperate is to, as Ralph Waldo Emerson said, get my bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. Because if I have my bloated nothingness, which are my fears, my doubts, my ego, my self-righteous judgment, and all of that stuff in the way, there is no way that I can be a voice for peace, that I can be love expressing, not when all of that is blocking it. Immaculée, and now I'm going to try to say this last name, Ilza wrote a book several years ago entitled Left to Tell. That was the name of it, Left to Tell, which I believe absolutely embodied what Emerson was talking about in the bloated nothingness. This book is it is extremely difficult to read, and frankly, my mind had a hard time contemplating and comprehending, that we could be so afraid of one another that it drives us to do things that occurred in Rwanda in 1994. When 1 million people, and this is just a guesstimate, died in 100 days, were massacred in 100 days, killed by neighbors. Immaculée tells her story of hiding for 3 months in a 4-by-3-foot bathroom with 7 other women. She had nothing to do in there but to pray and meditate, pray and meditate. And so she did. She prayed and she meditated and tried to connect with God. Immaculée prayed to feel God's love and support during this very difficult time, this terrifying time. It's not even difficult, terrifying time. She prayed for peace. She prayed to be comforted, but she could not feel it. She couldn't feel it. She could not until, that is, it became clear to her what people who had killed her family and her friends, who were at that moment trying to find her to kill her, as well were in need of one thing, and just one thing only. She came to this realization: love. Love. She came to that profound realization in the middle of one of the most terrifying times of her life. This is something that helped her through it. The 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians kept running through her mind. So I'm going to read it to you. This is what she was focused on. Love is patient, love is kind, and envies no one. Love is never boastful, nor conceited, nor rude. Never selfish, never quick to take offense. Love keeps scores of wrongs, keeps no score of wrongs, does not gloat over others, but delights in the truth. Love bears all things, believes in all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. And now abide in faith, hope, and love. These three, but the greatest of these is love. And that's what she was meditating on. When it came to this reading, she began to embody it, to really embody it, the scripture, which was not easy with everything going on. But eventually she surrendered to it, and the flood of God's love poured over her. She writes about this in her book. She experienced a love so powerful that she survived against all odds. It was an absolute impossible situation that she was in. But she discovered that hatred and revenge were literally forced to dissolve in the presence of love. It was a love that allowed her to seek out the man who killed her family, the man who was her former neighbor, who she grew up playing with his children, and look upon him with only love and compassion. When asked by one of the soldiers why she did not spit on him, she replied, "Forgiveness is all I have to offer others. Forgiveness is all I have." This man killed her family, and she could forgive him. Love will always rule. It's the only way. Now, that, my friends, took some incredible spiritual strength and power. That is the power in the heart that Marianne Williamson was talking about. And within every heart, there is a power to heal. Within every heart, there is a power to heal. This is truth. Immaculée, a concrete example of what New Thought teacher and author Emmett Fox wrote. He once wrote this, and I think you might have heard it, but this was Emmett Fox, a fantastic writer. He wrote, "There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer, no disease that enough love will not heal, no door that enough love will not open, no gulf that enough love will not bridge, no wall that enough love will not throw down, no wrong that enough love will not set right. It makes no difference how deeply seated may be the trouble, how helpless the outlook, how muddled the tangle, how great the mistake. A sufficient realization of love will dissolve it all," he wrote. "If only you will love enough, you will be the happiest, most powerful person in the world." The love of a single heart can make the world of difference. We just don't know how powerful we truly are. By healing one heart at a time, we are contributing to the evolutionary leap that is taking place right now, globally. The Sufi poet Rumi once wrote, "Out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there lies a field. I'll meet you there." That's the field of expanded consciousness. That's the field where we create the life, the family, the community, the nation, and the world of harmony and peace in that field, that neutral field, that field of love. And that's the world that I want to live in. What kind of world do you want to live in, my friends? If you would like to join me in that field, I will meet you there.